Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions, and tomorrow being election day, we're getting a question that is being asked very often, and it's, what's the plan for election day, and what do I plan to do with my open positions that I'm going long on, and as well as, what am I going to be day trading? So I really hope that throughout this video, I just get you one step closer to your overall goal, and if you feel like I earned it, I really hope that you can drop a thumbs up. But without further ado, one of the stocks that I have been openly keeping you guys up to date on is my Tesla and Apple position. And there's no question that when the market opened, the market aggressively pushed up, as you guys can see here. I think it was up about 3 or 4%, which was great based off of the performance that we saw on Friday. So it was amazing to see that, okay, finally, my long positions are recovering, and it's nice not to see such a red number when I wake up in the morning, to say the least, right? So it has been unfortunate, but again, this is why we've tried to remind you guys that don't take a position that's too heavy that you can't tolerate, right? That's the easiest way for me to put it. And that's going to be a little bit of the idea that I'm going to be talking about for election day and how I plan to go long. But I did want to update you guys. I am down, right? There's no question that based off of where I originally bought Tesla and how I've been buying more as it sold off a little bit, I am down on the open. I'm still down about $1,200. And I also reduced my position size. So it shows that I'm up $1,100 on the day. I was up nearly $2,000 on the day. But of course, the market has sold off. And I want to explain to you, why did I reduce my position size? I believe I had 130 shares, so I reduced it by 30 shares. And the reason, or the question that I began to ask myself is, there's a lot of uncertainty tomorrow, right? Normally, and you guys can comment down below. If you think Trump's going to win, what do you think is going to happen to the market? Or if you think Biden's going to win, what do you think is going to happen to the market? And based off of a couple different articles that I read, and again, this is just based off the article, so please don't just stop here. But if, of course, a Republican candidate gets reelected in this case, right? That will most likely act as a positive notion for the overall market, meaning that the market will most likely go up. If a Democratic candidate, right, as in Biden in this case, gets elected, then that will most likely act as a negative catalyst. But that's for the overall, right, general market. Taking that into consideration, there are specific individual markets that will most likely excel. An example is for Biden. He's big on alternative energy. So we will most likely see that it can act as a positive catalyst, that even though the overall market might be dropping, a series of companies that have to do with alternative energy might see a nice little push if we do see, again, Biden getting elected. And this goes for both candidates, as they're both pro and against a series of different niches within the market. So this is something that, again, if you're highly or aggressively invested in maybe a series of these different markets, you really take that into consideration going into the election. The reason that I decided to reduce my position sizes due to all of this uncertainty. The market is still selling off, right? Tesla is still selling off. Apple is still selling off. And I just want to make sure that I don't get ahead of myself. My position size is, like I've said so many times before, and I'm sorry for sounding like a broken record. I just want to remind you and encourage you that you have nothing but time. After the election, when things begin to become a little bit more clear, I can feel more comfortable, which will make me more effective and more efficient. So yes, if the market does push up quite a bit, and I reduced my position size by 30 shares. Again, I still have 100 shares in it, so I still have some skin in the game. But I'm also thinking, right, because there's two sides to every opportunity, I'm also taking into consideration that things can easily go south, right? And like we've seen for the past 3 to 4 weeks, wouldn't really be a surprise if we see the market sell off after whoever is elected, because there's so much uncertainty, there's so much going on, and all I want to remind you is that you have nothing but time, right? When it comes down to these long positions, there's so many stocks as of right now. The ones that I'm really paying attention to are ones that are still selling off, and I'm very excited to follow up with them when things become more clear. This time, when there is a lot of uncertainty, when there is a lot of sell-off, is a time that I'm taking to building an effective watch list. So instead of trying to, hey, this is my top stocks that I'm buying right now, at the end of the day, I'm not going fully invested in any of these positions. Why? Because direction is unclear. I have some skin in the game on some of these different, Tesla, Twitter, AMD, different stocks that I find that are good quality companies aggressively sold off either due to earnings or due to overall market condition, and I'm trying to set my future self up with the idea that I know the market can continue to sell off, and because of that, I need to keep a both effective but yet efficient position just in case the market does sell off. I can tolerate it. So I don't want to be pro market and pro like, hey, it has to go up, buy now, because we know that just like we've seen for the past 3 to 4 weeks, the market has been selling off. It can continue to sell off. So instead of me being extremely hopeful, I want to be cool, calm, and collected and effective during this time, right? So Twitter is definitely one of them. Another one that I'm paying attention to, of course, is Apple. Of course, is Tesla as it sold off a little bit. Another one that I was paying attention to last week that I still own a little bit of is AMD, or at previous support levels. Patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't always have to, so we'll have to see where it goes from here. And another one that we were talking about last week is also BE. This is Bloom Energy, aggressively sold off. Earnings wasn't the best, acted as a negative catalyst, but we've been talking about this one since it was at the SMA line. And we talked about this one during our Learn, Plan, Profit live trading session this morning, and it's dropped 25% since we've been waiting. This is why it's so important. You guys might be like, well, Ricky, why are you making a video about maybe encouraging us to wait? Because just like we talked about this stock about 10 days ago, that patience saved me 25% of my position size. So it's great when you see an opportunity that meets your potential criteria, but it's even more important to wait for the proper time to buy when direction is a little bit more clear. And this is why I think you can utilize this extra time, that instead of trying to aggressively buy everything, maybe you can build an effective watch list. If you feel comfortable, maybe you can take small position sizes that you can tolerate in case the market sells off, but you're buying because you find them to be a good deal and even in the long run. Now that we talked about our long positions, what would I consider buying as day trades, especially tomorrow? More tomorrow than ever before. Today was a perfect example of market volatility. The market originally at market open was pushing up. That caused SQQQ, which is a triple leveraged ETF. Please understand that. This is not something that I want to hold overnight, and nothing like that, right? This sells off when the market goes up and vice versa. So what does that mean? This means that if the market were to sell off tomorrow, just like it's selling off right now, then SQQQ goes up. So why is this important? Well, if the market does begin to sell off and it continues to sell off, then we will see SQQQ go up about 3 times whatever the market or NASDAQ ends up moving. So again, is this ETF for everyone? Of course not. It comes at its own form of risk, and you need to still take into consideration if it meets your criteria and if you can tolerate the type of movement that it has. It normally doesn't move too crazy, but I've seen it before where if the market's aggressively selling off and it's down 5%, then SQQQ is up 15%. So it's something that I wanted to talk about for those that want to take into consideration of what I'm paying attention to tomorrow and based off of market direction, but also understanding that just as much money as you can make, you can lose as well, especially with the triple leverage ETF, and your risk management has to be on point. So as of right now, I still have about an hour and 20 minutes until the market closes. I do have an open position right now on SQQQ as the market is selling off. I see SQQQ to be a little bit more on the oversold side. I see some upside potential, but if in case it breaks below the SMA line, I'll remove my position. My position size isn't too crazy. It's enough that I feel like I have some skin in the game, but not so much that I feel emotional, to say the least, right? So this is definitely one that I'm paying attention to. And another very popular one, we've talked about it multiple times, is SPY is the S&P 500 ETF that of course goes up when the overall market goes down. But if you like trading the actual futures itself, that's going to be /ES, which has become a pretty popular future if you want to take that into consideration, as it does trade longer than just normal stocks. And as you guys can see with all the data that we have on over here. So overall, I'm super excited to see how the market reacts tomorrow, because at the end of the day, no one ever knows exactly what is going to happen. All we can do is be prepared and make sure that we have our set list of criteria that every stock has to meet before we decide to take our day trades and of course our long positions as well. So I really do appreciate you guys' time. I hope that I earned your thumbs up in this video. Let me know in the comment section who you guys think is going to win. Do you think that Trump's going to win, or do you think that Biden's going to win? So don't forget to stay connected. We do run the largest free Facebook group for those who trade in the stock market, and that's that first link down below if you want to join our free Facebook group to connect with like-minded individuals. And on top of that, this will give you access to our free Discord chat as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and until then, we'll see you guys on the next one. Take it easy, team.